Any conquerors in the room? Yeah. I think sometimes we go through our lives and we judge and criticize ourselves and others for the mistakes that we made. Am I right? Yeah. And I think we've all made them. Can I see a show of hands of who has not made a mistake? The journey that we're on is really about awakening that divine potential within us, and it can only happen if we're honest with ourselves and with each other. And so I love this song, The Conqueror, because that's what we are doing. We're waking up to that divine sense of self so that we can overcome any obstacle we think might be in our way. We begin to reframe our storytelling and recognize that every mistake we've ever made is really just another opportunity of expansion and growth, another opportunity to overcome an idea or thought, a belief that may have been planted when we were very, very young, so that we can recognize who we truly are today. And we're here. And because we're here, at this point in our lives means everything that's happened up to this point is divine perfection, because it brought us here. I had somebody tell me yesterday that I was being judged because I had a child at 16. And I went, wow, that's not the first time I've heard that. You should have seen it at the time. I got lots of judgment. The journey to here is one where we stumble. It's a journey of discovering things that work for us and don't work for us. And the greatest gift we have is a recognition of our divinity. And at the moment that we can do that, everything that's come before this moment is irrelevant. So we forgive it, we release it, we let it go. We want to get to a place where we can look at our lives with an honest reflection going, wow, look where I got to, given my history, given the obstacles that I chose to overcome, because everything's a choice. Look at where I got to today. I invite you to reflect on your lives. I invite you to look back over the things that have brought you to this place and to recognize what a remarkable being you are. How special and fabulous to have arrived at this point in time and in this life that you now have. And should there be anything in your life that feels a little disconnected or out of sync or whatever, just bless it and thank it and recognize this too shall change, because everything does. If it's in the manifest world, it's changing. The only thing that lasts is spirit, the divine sense of our oneness with God. So we're here to recognize that overcoming is not something done by one or two people, but every one of us, every hour of every day, we have to overcome our judgments, our criticisms, our negativity. The Lenten season is really about releasing all of the old so that we can stand in this new moment and reveal the Christ, that essence within ourself of divine perfection, the way we were created, that we might allow that out. So we can allow it to illuminate the world around us, because people notice what we do rather than what we say. Isn't that right? So what is it that I'm saying about life? What is it I'm showing you about life? And you can judge it if you like, but that says more about you than me. Because the truth is, I live inside my head. I know who I am, or sort of, working on it. And hopefully you're knowing who you are, but any judgment you have on another person comes from you, not them. And so we start to realize that I am projecting onto you who I think you are. So my projection on all of you today is that you're divine, fabulous, and magnificent. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. What was that, Marva? Take it. We're journeying along, and the ability to overcome an obstacle is such a beautiful thing, because we have within us this strength, this power, that with a little bit of hope and possibility, we can accomplish absolutely anything. We can sit on a mountaintop and talk about a dream that we have, and we can watch it manifest down the road because we took the steps to move us toward that dream, that possibility. And so we overcome. We let go of our judgment of the past, of people around us, of our own selves most especially, and love ourselves enough that we can stand in this moment absolutely bearing our souls, going yes to life. showing who we are in each and every moment without judgment or criticism, but with a sense of elation and delight. And as we greet each other, we can greet the Christ within by recognizing everybody's a divine being. Everybody's unique and special and fabulous. Not some of us, but all of us. And when we begin to look from that place, the judgment starts to disappear. The criticism begins to recede. And we start to see the beauty that has been surrounding us ever since the beginning. We've overcome. We've overcome our judgment. We begin to live with a sense of faith and possibility. Faith is that powerful force. We all have it for something. Some of us have great faith in fear, worry, doubt, criticism, judgment. We have faith in all of that. But what we're being called to now is to have faith in the divine essence of who we are, to have faith that God is with me, and so anything I have need of is right here where I am. There is nothing that could be withheld from me because I am an heir to the kingdom, just like you. So what is it that you want out of life? What is it you're seeking? What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you desire? Because it already is. It already is. You couldn't desire it if it didn't exist. So what's holding you back? What is it that you need to step over? What is it that you need to release or overcome in order to experience your brilliance, your magnificence, your beauty, your awesomeness? What is it that you need to alter, change in order to reveal the Christ in you? It's merely an idea in mind. See, what we teach here is that mind creates, period. What you think about you is going to manifest in your life. It will surround you at all times, in all ways, and you might judge it and criticize it and point fingers of blame. But the truth is, it first started as an idea in mind. Yours, mine. Whatever we see out here began in here. Now, what's really good about that is that if my mind created my challenge, my opportunity, my mind can fix it. Am I right? Yes. That is the good news. The good news is I created it and I can change it. I created my life from the inside out, and I can begin again in this moment to create something that's truly spectacular and divine. You know, there's sometimes when we hear of somebody doing really well in the world and we go, wow, what a miracle. But it's not. It's like for years and years they've worked on their craft and they've honed their skills and they've moved forward day by day, believing in themselves, and all of a sudden, magically, in one moment, something great happens. Something great didn't happen in one moment. It was a lifetime of preparation, a lifetime of overcoming their own doubts and fears. I was watching a documentary about Lady Gaga, who's accomplished a lot in her young life. And it's interesting to hear her talk about her fears and her insecurities and the things that have brought her to this moment. But today she goes, it's all good. I'm fine. I like who I am. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I merely have to love myself and be who I am. And that's the message for all of us. In order to overcome whatever's been on our pathway, it's merely an idea that we're ready to express now, recognizing I'm enough. No matter what I was told as a kid, those old belief systems, you know the belief systems that keep tripping you up? They're not even yours, which is fascinating. You just accepted them. You know, our parents told us stuff. I know a family where one of their sons is a lot of trouble these days. He's 14 and he's just really struggling with everything, and he's not always the nicest person to be around, but when he was 2 and he was running around and playing and having fun, his mom grabbed him up and said, "You're a horrible child," and dragged him off to his room and put him to bed. I think the message landed. It landed, didn't it? And so he just lives from that understanding forever and ever until he changes his mind. And he has the power to do that. See, he accepted a belief that was given to him by a person in authority. And haven't we all done that at some point? Somebody said something about us and we went, oh, that's the truth. And then we began to live our lives as if it were true. Well, I'm here to tell you, it was all a bunch of lies. So you can just erase it now. Just forgive and forget. And plant in a new idea. I am divine perfection. I am the Christ. I am absolutely living my mighty, unique, magnificent life now. Can you say that? I am living my magnificent, mighty, beautiful, exciting, passionate life now. Woo! Doesn't that feel good? Yeah. We give ourselves messages all the time. We're telling ourselves stories. Oh, I'm not enough. Oh, this doesn't fit right. I'm too fat. I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm blah, blah, blah. It's all lies. I'm a divine creative being born and created in the image and likeness of God. How could I be anything less than perfect? Now, my behavior may falter at times. Often, okay, often. You know me too well. But that is not who I am or who you are. You are this divine blessing, this gift unto the universe. You come into life with a little something that nobody else has, that nobody else can bring, and it's up to you to bring it. Are you ready to bring it? Are you ready to stand in your beauty and your magnificence and just bare your soul to the world and say, yes, I'm going to live. I'm going to live. And by doing that, you don't have to, spend 80 hours a week in meditation trying to figure out who you are. You know who you are, so stop lying to yourself. How many times have you said this week, I don't know? That's a lie. You do know. You know who you are. You're a child of God and heir to the kingdom, so stop playing small. Stop pretending that you aren't genius. Stop pretending that you're not magnificent. Stop pretending that somehow you're broken and need to be fixed. None of that's true. You're a divine creative being. You are the Christ, made manifest right here at Verity. How great is that? And from this place of your greatness, you can begin to scale the walls that you've constructed around your heart and around your mind, and you can break them down, going, this is all BS. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to stand in the truth. I'm going to listen to the classes at Verity. I'm going to start listening to the message at Verity and recognize my mind is creating my hell. And frankly, I'm done. Anybody here done? Done with creating hell? Yeah, let's create a little bit of heaven. It happened early this morning when we were singing that first song. And Evan and the choir were doing their thing. I had to keep looking back at the choir because they were hilarious. What joy that brought to the room. We may have struggled to find parking. We may have hit some traffic or construction on our way here, most likely. But the fact is we're here, and then we got to experience all this joy and this fun and this silliness and this beauty. And it was magnificent, wasn't it? Yeah, so for anybody who wasn't here, come next week. It's all good. It's all good. You see, we have an opportunity not just to be what we were created to be, which is divine, but to be that to the point where people start to see it around us and they look at us and go, I don't know what you're taking, but I think I want a little bit of that, right? And then we start searching and going, let me check out Verity. Let me begin to lift my mind to a place of excitement and delight rather than listening to the news again as it loops and loops and loops. You see, we have a choice. We have a choice about what we plant. If I go out this spring, which I think is coming, although I think Shamroy said something about snow on Wednesday, I might have to stop listening to his radio show. No. Snow on Wednesday? Look at today. It's like summer out there. I'm just kidding you. I love your show. Don't love snow, but I love your show. My sister sent me a picture of Calgary, and my stepmom's house. There was this big snowbank coming off of her eaves, and it hung down like this. So just this big thing, and then the wall of the house. It was like, I said, wow, I'm glad I don't live there. And she's like, okay, enough of you. I'll talk to you later. Snow, snow, snow. Just another opportunity to feel life, isn't it? When the snow comes, we can feel the coolness of it. We can experience the breath as it, we can see it in front of us, and we begin to maybe appreciate the coming of spring even more. But all of it is just God expressing. Everything that we experience, everything that happens, there's no thing where God isn't. There's like everything that's happening is an expression of God. So why are we resisting life so much? Why are we holding back from each other out of fear? We need to have faith that God is wherever we are and that it surrounds us, indwells us, and everybody else. You see, there's not one special person. We're all special. We're all unique and magnificent. And so when we're walking down the street and we see that person that looks a little bit scary, my youngest son could fit that bill. Big guy with piercings and, chains and black clothes and looking kind of frightening. That might be the sweetest person you ever meet in your lifetime, so you might want to look them in the eye and give them a smile. You never know what you're going to get. You might get one back. You might get a good morning, hello, how are you? You might be surprised. We pass judgment all the time. From what? The eyes. The eyes are liars. They're sending a message to the brain, and there's an interpretation that happens based on what we've heard on the news, what we've seen in our life up to this point. But if we let all that go, if we drop the past, if we, shut off CNN and BBC and whatever other things there is, we shut all that stuff off and we start looking at life from a new perspective, it's easy to overcome any obstacle that we think may be in front of us because we stop seeing them. We start to see that everything around us is what it is, and therefore it is God, it is good, and so I will sit with it and know that something great is coming from this. When I was a mom at 16, it wasn't easy. But yesterday, celebrating her 45th birthday was sweet. I've been blessed. 2 grandchildren, a great-grandson. How awesome is that? The joy of an early start means you've got more time to hang with the grandkids after. And grandkids are great. That's where we should start, probably. Somebody else is a grandma. But this journey that we're on, we tend to put ourselves in boxes and then wonder why we're suffocating. Why life is boring and frustrating and annoying. Why we're angry and fighting each other. Because we've put ourselves in a box and we don't fit in it. We weren't meant to be boxed up with the lid closed and chained. But that's how most of us are living, because we've put a wall around our hearts and we've allowed ourselves to become cold and distant because we're too afraid to meet each other where we are, and that has to stop. You want to see peace on earth, it comes from here. I have to be peaceful to experience that, and you need to be peaceful in order to experience that, because that's the only way it's going to happen. If I'm angry, if I think I got to get you because you got me, well, guess what? The fight will continue. It must. The only answer is love, and it begins with loving myself enough to recognize my own divinity, my own possibility, recognize who I truly am. And then as I do that, I automatically lovingly accept you. And because I accept you, then you just might fall in love with your own self and start loving you. And then, somebody in your life catches that. It's totally contagious. Smile at somebody and look what happens. You have this smile and all of a sudden everybody's smiling. It's the craziest thing. It's like totally infectious. It's a virus. Spread it. Hug people, touch people. Babies die if they're not touched. We need to be touched. Stop holding back. Shake hands if that's what you're most comfortable with. I like to hug and kiss. Luckily, my husband's okay with that because I kiss all of you. It's like whatever we're doing in life, we need to take down the walls around our heart. We got to let our God stuff out. I wanted to say something else, but I held it back because I don't think cursing in church is good. He'll catch it on the video. But this journey that we're on of overcoming is not overcoming something out here or something someone did to us or something someone else has done. It's overcoming our fear of life and living. It's about overcoming our own sense of low self-esteem. It's about overcoming our doubt and living instead in faith. We talk about faith here. We talk about love here. Let's get a little bit of that. Let's begin to expect good instead of expecting bad, right? We tend to expect bad, don't we? Yeah. Oh, well, 2 things went wrong. There's going to be a third, Murphy's Law. How about 3 great things just happened and I know a whole bunch more are coming? Yay! Right? We can change it up. We need to change it up. We need to start looking at our lives from a new perspective. We need to look at each other from a place of possibility and hope and love and compassion and kindness and respect. We need to look at someone else rather than judging who they've been or where they've come from or where they live or whatever's going on for them, but rather look in their eyes and reveal the Christ, because it's there. It's always been there. And all we need to do is open up to that. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to look at each other without judgment and criticism? Are you ready to look at each other and go, wow, I love you. I love you and you and you and you and you and you. Right? Love is easy. It's the easy part. Holding resentment, man, that's the hard part, because it will kill you. It will kill you. A friend of mine, another minister, once said that resentment is like drinking poison but expecting someone else to die from it. We know that's ridiculous, right? But we do it all the time. We resent our parents because the message they told us, or one time they yelled at us, or they grounded us, or they whipped us, or whatever they did. And so we have a resentment that we carry for the next 50 or 60 years. Hello, who do you think you're hurting? Not them. They don't even remember. They've forgotten it a long time ago. And probably felt justified at the time, so they didn't do anything wrong. And here we are holding this thing. Or our best friend goes, oh, you're going to wear that today? And we get mad at them because they made a comment. Why would we do that? Just say, thank you for sharing. Move on. It's all up to us, you see, how we receive messages. You see, we interpret them. I remember a minister telling me one day he was standing giving this great message, and there was a guy in the front row who just kept sitting there like this through the entire talk. Just shaking his head, no. And it was really throwing the minister off. Because he's like, oh man, he's trying to look over top of him, because he's right in front of him. He's trying to look over to this side and over to that side, and he's like, oh wow, this guy's hating this. He's making all these assumptions. So he's standing at the back of the church after the Sunday service is over, and everybody's filing through, and this man who'd been sitting in the front row comes up to him and takes his hand, and he goes, oh my God, thank you so much. I needed that message more than anything ever. It was the best message I've ever heard. We judge. We assume. What do they say about assuming? You make out of me and you? Yeah, or you and me. It's time for us to stop thinking we have a clue what's going on for another person, and instead take a moment to meet them. We say namaskar here. Namaskar. What does that mean? I meet you. At the Christ level, I meet you. Not at your hair color or hairstyle or height or weight. I meet you. Because you are one with me. We teach here that there's only one thing going on. We live, move, and have our being within it. What part of that do we not get? If there's only one of us here, we're all living in the same pool. We're all living from the same stuff. The only thing we need to overcome, an idea in mind. Now, who's thinking your thoughts? Anybody? Is it you? Because if it's you, I think you have the power to change them. And if you change your thinking, you won't even have to worry about overcoming everything. It'll just naturally happen. Because the minute you change your thoughts from fear to love, all of a sudden great stuff is surrounding you. All of a sudden the road seems to smooth out a little bit. The bumps aren't quite as huge as they once were. As you begin to change your thinking and begin to look at what's possible for you but not only what's possible, to a place of knowing I am one with God. God is all powerful. I am powerful. God is all knowing. I know. Stop telling yourself you don't. That's a lie. God is everywhere present, so it has to be here and there. We need to tell ourselves new stories. We need to create new dramas. Ones of delight and excitement and possibility. It's nice to hear stories of really positive things that happen, isn't it? And it's really nice to see when somebody does something really exceptional for another human being. It's like, oh, it feels so good. But meanwhile, we go back to the drama of the news and all of the projecting the what ifs and the buts and the maybes, which isn't really news anyway. It's a misuse of the faculty of imagination, creating fear. See, I went to college to become a journalist. Yeah, it didn't work out for me. I completed the program, but I couldn't do it because I was learning new thought stuff while I was going to college. And the more I learned, the more I realized that I don't want to be finding whatever bleeds so it can lead. Because that's what you're looking for. You're chasing ambulances and police cars and trying to find dirt everywhere you go. And frankly, that felt awful. Although I did get a great photograph on page 2 of the Calgary Sun of the first accident of the year on the highway. But that's not what intrigued me. Because as I learned more and more about life and living and God and spirituality, I thought, this feels really off. And so I went into real estate instead, because, that's the next best thing. I've had an interesting journey to here. But what's great about it as I've overcome some of the hills and made my way through some dark valleys, what's happened for me is I've come to recognize that everything in my life is a creation of my mind. That everywhere I've been has been the right and perfect place for me to be so that I could be the person that I am in front of you today. That none of it was a waste of time, none of it wrong and bad. All of it just an opportunity for me to discover who I truly am and to be able to come to terms with who that is or who I think that might be. I don't know if I know for sure yet. I mean, I'm sure at some level I know, but there's part of me that's still doing some seeking. Yesterday in our Lenten experience, Evan took us on a journey, sort of a free fall into our spiritual self, and it was lovely. It was a journey through our history, through our past, to recognize the things that occurred that set a pattern in place so that we could release it and reveal something brand new, and it was powerful. There's one more week for it, so if you missed it this week, maybe come next Saturday, 10:30. It's awesome. It was a great experience to just kind of fall through the layers of life and living that have brought me here. And it showed me stuff about myself. If I was wondering why I hold back in some ways or why I doubt my ability to do some things, it was like, oh, that happened. And I believed it. And so it's time to change all that. And we can. We can change it because it's our mind. And we're the ones thinking the thoughts. And our stinking thinking can create the hell experience for us, and our divine thinking can create the heaven experience for us, and we get to choose that moment by moment. We need to stop living for somebody else, by somebody else's rules. We need to stop thinking that somewhere along the path or along the journey there is something that's going to save us. You are your Savior. You are your Savior. And if there's anything in your life that you choose to overcome, you have the power to do it. Right now, right here, today. There is no healing that needs to happen that could happen outside of you. Everything happens within you. And are you ready for that? Are you ready to take your life to the next level? Are you ready to be a shining example in the world by taking Verity out of these doors and living it day by day, moment by moment? Are you ready to love yourself so much that you just get excited to wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, oh, look what God created. Maybe that's just my hair. But we're here by divine appointment. And we're here to live so fully that the world around us can't help but fall in love with us. And it doesn't matter who we think we are. The minute we change our thinking and begin to accept that we are divine creative beings, everything around us will transform. It has to. Because what I think about creates my life, and what you think about creates yours. So who are you living for? Who do you want to be living for? Are you a conqueror? Conquer your fears and live in faith. Conquer your doubts and expand your consciousness. Conquer that wild imaginings of the what ifs and the buts and the maybes, and let it all go, and just allow yourself to free fall into the absolute, free fall into the oneness with God, free fall into this idea of I am one with God, therefore I am powerful. Whatever you dream about, whatever you desire is yours. It's already here. You don't even have to go find it. You just have to return. Return to the one you've always been. And are you ready to do that? Well, I asked a question, nobody answered, so I was just waiting. I got all day. No. We are conquerors. We have the ability to change our stars. And all we need to do is focus on the thing that we desire rather than the thing we don't. And most of us focus on what we don't want. We have a whole pile of bills and no cash. We focus on those bills. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Oh. We don't have a great lover in our lives, and so we... Sorry, I wasn't talking about you. I'm so inappropriate sometimes. Just checking to see if he was asleep or not. I don't even know what I was saying now. Oops. Anyway. We focus on the things that we don't want. You know, we focus on being lonely, and we focus on being angry, and we focus on being frustrated, and we focus on being depressed and anxious, and we focus on not having enough friends, and we focus on all the things that are wrong in the world, and we focus on, you know, how ugly life can be and all the bad things that ever happened to us, and this person did it to me, and that person did it to me, and we focus all our energy there, and we wonder why we're living in hell. Because we're creating it. We need to shift our focus and begin to focus on the beauty and the magnificent. Focus on the sunshine. Don't focus on the fact that it's going to snow on Wednesday. I love you, Shem. Focus on the moment. Focus on being as open and receptive as you can right now. Focus on the beauty of music and the smile of a child. Focus on just being fully present in your life and with the people around you. Focus on that. Focus on being, you know, in traffic and just rejoicing that you're able to sit and relax and not be upset that it's all blocked up. Just allow yourself to be where you are. What is. We can't change what is. However, we can change our minds about it. And as we fully accept it, we begin to set in place an idea for our next moment, which might be more in tune with what we truly love, what we truly like. So I invite you to fall in love with yourself, to love yourself so much that you admire your gifts and talents, that you respect your body temple, that you begin to nurture everything around you and all that's about you, that you begin to tell stories of yourself that are honest and true, that you stop lying about who you really are and begin to live from the Christ consciousness. I invite you to find you and reveal you to the world. It will be a blessing to every one of us, to all of us. Are you ready to be a blessing into the world? Yes. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. And yeah.
There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will have to fight. But victory or defeat, it's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me.
Never said there wouldn't be trials. Never said I wouldn't fall. Never said that everything will go the way I want it to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel all hope is gone, I'll just lift my head up to the sky and say, help me to be strong. Oh,
I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me.
oh, no, you didn't.
No,
I'm here to lead
no,
me.
no.
Even when I can't see clearly, I know that you are with me, so I can.
I just can't give up now.
'Cause I've come
Too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe He brought me this far to lead me.
Said I can't give up now.
I just can't give up now.
'Cause I've
I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me.
Said I can't give up now.
I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe brought me this far to leave me. And I don't believe he brought me this far